Right, with RBA rate rises expected tomorrow, pressure on mortgage, of course, and a cold winter and those power prices, many Australians are struggling to keep up with cost of living. We know that that's tough at the moment. In New South Wales, power prices there will rise as of 1 July by around 18%. In Queensland, it's 12%. In Victoria, around 5%. A lot of different reasons for the increases, but along with groceries and essentials of life, things are getting pretty tough. So it comes as no surprise today to learn that in Victoria, Foodbank Victoria are seeing now 50,000 Victorians looking for help with their groceries and food items. Many, we're told, for the first time. Joining me now for our regular Monday night segment, Sky News host Erin Molan. Erin, I was leaping ahead there. I forgot the sting. Hey, with these statistics out, and particularly those power price increases, I mean, how you fathom being able to pay 18% more for your power in New South Wales, I don't know. But things are pretty grim, aren't they?
They really are. Good evening to you, Peter, and I forget stings all the time, so it's all good. What really breaks my heart about this, you look at these images of kilometres long lines of cars of people lining up to get these food hampers, and they're reminiscent of those images we saw of really hard-working, incredible Australians who have worked their whole entire lives, never asked for a handout, and when COVID hit, had to line up outside Centrelink. And when you say first-time people going to Foodbank, these are people with jobs. Foodbank make the point that these aren't people sleeping rough or homeless Australians. These are people with full-time jobs who cannot afford to feed their families or feed themselves, and it's absolutely awful. I've contacted Foodbank today and said, is this happening in other parts of the country? And they said not to that extent, but regional areas are really, really tough at the moment. In South Australia, particularly regionally, ACT and New South Wales as well. In WA, they're seeing an incredible increase in first-timers. It really does break your heart, and who knows, with tomorrow's news as well, things will no doubt get harder. But one thing this isn't to Australians is surprising.
I'm not surprised.
No, it doesn't. The cost of food is astronomical.
As the cost of living goes up, definitely you would be obviously not spending as much on groceries. I know I don't. But yeah, Foodbank services would be a really good alternative to that.
I'm just having a look at the price of meat too before, and yep, and I saw in the news today the houses, two builders have gone under. So yep, I'm feeling it.
Cost of living is rising. People were already struggling before that because of the pandemic, and they haven't had a job or income in how long? Basically, people are screwed.
Yeah, she's not wrong, is she? It's really sad.
Talk to me about New South Wales. I watched some of those images over the weekend. Your heart breaks for these people. They've mopped up the mud not just once but 3 times in recent months. There's a lot of debate, a lot of human sympathy for them, and you know, plenty of support required to get them back up on their feet. But are we at a stage where we need to start a conversation? If people are facing this for the 3rd time in 18 months, should government be assisting them to move if that's what they're prepared to do?
Oh, absolutely, and we should at the very least be starting a conversation. I said this on your very show during the Lismore tragedy. We spoke to the Lismore mayor, and he made the point that people who buy in low-lying areas buy because they can afford a 4-bedroom house for $300 grand. 1.5 kilometres up a little bit higher, it's $700 grand. People live in these areas because a lot of them don't have the choice, but it's so complex, it's so divisive. Does the government relocate them somewhere else and then just stop supporting them, or do they then subsidise them for the next year while they settle in? Or do we look at mitigation? You know, the mayor of the Hawkesbury City Council said today, if the dam had been built 10 years ago, the wall had been risen 10 years ago, the peak would have been less than 3 metres than what it was here, which would have meant that all it would have done is just give a bit of issue on the bank rather than, you know, the horror that we're seeing at the moment. It is so complex, but someone with a far higher pay grade than you or I needs to sort it out. Some level of government, stop blaming each other and do something. People are just really upset.
I start to worry about businesses who get inundated, whether they want to reopen, because surely they'd be getting tired of the emotional distress as well as the financial hardship.
Just over the other side of the river, there's an independent service station, and this is the 4th time that he's been submerged. I spoke to him on Saturday before it was rising, and they knew it was coming, and yeah, they were quite emotional about it because, you know, 4th time.
Really worried about people, how they're coping, and, you know, just hope everyone's keeping safe.
I don't like floods because
we're not able to go to school.
Yeah, it's tough for a lot of people, Peter.
Incredibly tough, and again, I made this point at the top of the show. I hate seeing all that water just flow down the river and out to sea. We're not capturing it any. I know. Erin Molan, that's another one. Someone with a bigger pay grade than us could sort out. Put some dams back on the agenda. Thank you for your time. Love the show on Sunday night. Watched it last night. Won't miss it again at all.